Let's get back to Dragon Ball FighterZ. The next character should be Janemba, and right after that we're gonna see Gogeta and Broly from the movie. Last time around we predicted Janemba's moveset, and you guys seemed to enjoy that video a lot. So after doing some research, rewatching every instance of Gogeta showing up in Dragon Ball, which included playing some other games to see how they tackle that character, it's time to predict Gogeta's moveset. And this moveset prediction is brought to you by OtakuCharms.com. Otaku Charms is an online store specialized in anime-inspired streetwear, accessories, and more. They have free shipping worldwide, and I don't think you heard me right. Free shipping worldwide. You don't need to pay for this stuff to get delivered, you just need to pay for the stuff anywhere you live. They have excellent reviews, so you don't have to take my word for it. Now that I'm on the take, I might be a bit biased. They have verified reviews that vouch for their services. And right now they're on sale with this awesome Majin Vegeta chain that is fairly exclusive to that store. You can't get this anywhere else. If you're a bit short on money, they also have a bargain section with items under 10 bucks, and on top of that, you can use the code Globku to get a discount on anything you buy on their website. Anything! You can find the link in the description down below. Have a look because they really have some great stuff that I haven't seen anywhere else. And thank you, Otaku Charms, for sponsoring the video. Let's jump into Gogeta. Gogeta technically has only showed up in Dragon Ball once, and that was during the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And that's the version we're getting for this game. Everything else isn't really considered canon, but that doesn't mean ArcSys won't pull some moves from those other appearances. So we're gonna be looking at Fusion Reborn and episode 60 of Dragon Ball GT as well, but keeping in mind that moves from the Broly movie might take priority here. With that said, we're gonna start with some of his cinematics, namely his intro and victory pose. If they decide to pull from these movies, I think Fusion Reborn probably has the best intro. Goku and Vegeta do the fusion dance, there's this light show, you can see this galaxy looking thing, and out of all the times Gogeta has showed up, this might be the flashiest intro. There is another possibility, which is during the Broly movie, this moment where Gogeta powers up. In the movie, he's already transformed, this is just him powering up for his next move, but I can easily see them having Vegeta and Goku doing the fusion dance, and then making this animation Gogeta's transformation into Super Saiyan Blue. As for victory pose, I think the one from the Broly movie takes the cake. Gogeta smiles, shakes off some leftover energy as if it was a piece of Guiji that got stuck to his hand, and then you have the Dragon Balls scattering across the earth in the background, and it's just beautiful. But let's move on to some of Gogeta's normals. How does he fight? What do his buttons look like? Gogeta has some weird looking stuff. In Broly, he fights upside down, so his normals might have some weird animations, him being sort of flashy, but at the same time he's also got some slower attacks with some real power behind them. This double knee to the neck of Janemba is something that is etched into my memory. I don't really know why, maybe it was in Tenkaichi or something, or maybe Final Bout, but for some reason I see this as a signature move for Gogeta. He's also got this massive elbow to Omega Shenron's face, which can either be the auto combo, a heavy attack, or even a medium. He's a character that uses a lot of spinning kicks, but also uses his elbows and knees a ton, and I think that will be the focus of his normal attacks. He might also have an aerial launcher, a jumping 2H, which is this backflip he lands on Janemba. Seems similar to Vegito's grounded 2H, so maybe it's not a jumping move, but a grounded move, but either way, they have a very easy launcher with this one. The jumping heavy, the one that throws the enemy back down to the ground, is the traditional double X handle. Lots of characters already have this, and Gogeta uses it on Broly, so it might just be that obvious. Then we've got some ki blasts, and it might just be normal ki blasts like the other Gokus, but in Broly, he does have this unique move where Gogeta runs with the ki blasts in hand. He dodges Broly's attacks and then throws them at Broly, so maybe we'll see a gimmick where he can launch the ki blasts or delay them while moving around with them, similar to how Goku GT can run with a Kamehameha, only with maybe a faster activation since the ki blasts don't have that beam priority. And finally, before we move on to specials, Gogeta deflects a Broly ki blast, so he might have a reflect like everyone else in the cast except Videl. It's not a big deal, but since Videl got that spot dodge, replacing the reflect, nothing's certain anymore. Moving on to his special attacks, when Gogeta shows up in Broly, he gets back into battle with the instant transmission. And that's just to say that he has it, he might be able to use it, but honestly he's got a lot of other cool stuff, so instant transmission might not make it in the end. What will most definitely make it is one of Gogeta's signature moves. This is called the Punisher Drive in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and it's the very first thing Gogeta ever did in Dragon Ball. He slides towards Janemba and then hits him faster than the eye can see. This seems like a good candidate for one of his special attacks. During Broly, he also has this dive kick, which in fighters usually means huge damage, because that makes it easy for you to extend combos, and even in neutral it can be a powerful tool, so fingers crossed for a dive kick. But a lot of his moves on Broly are actually about deflections or parries. For instance, he puts up this barrier that straight up deflects Broly's ki blast back into his face. And we've talked a lot about ki blast deflection back with Janemba, so maybe it won't happen for both both characters, but with Gogeta, it doesn't stop at that specific move. Gogeta also surfs this Broly beam by coating himself in this blue aura, which could be a really interesting gimmick. Instead of deflecting a beam attack at the opponent, you're using their own attack to win the neutral. If they can somehow pull this off, it'd be really different from anything in FighterZ right now. And finally, it doesn't just parry beams, he also parries a Broly punch. He does this martial arts motion with his hands, which could be the parry animation, the active frames, and if he gets attacked, he counters with an elbow into a spinning kick. But the real question is, does he have a beam? Gogeta does fire a quick Kamehameha during the Broly fight without a lot of wind-up, which could be seen as a special attack rather than a super. So yes, a beam is a possibility. But as we've just seen, Gogeta has a lot of other unique things that could be used, so whether or not he has a beam kinda comes down to whether or not that would make the character too powerful. But the hopes for a beam assist are still there. Gogeta is perhaps your final hope. Finally, let's talk about his supers, and I've got 4 supers written down here, which might be too much, but all of them are so freaking cool. I'm just gonna list them all and you guys can let me know which ones you think are gonna make it. First, he has this key Blast Barrage he uses in Broly. This might be the most underwhelming of the supers I've listed, but Gogeta doesn't just use this once. He doesn't use this twice. He uses this 3 times during the Broly fight. And Broly versus Gogeta isn't that long. It runs for about 10 minutes and there are a lot of interruptions in between. And during this fight, this is the only move that Gogeta repeats. He does this while on the ground as well as in the air, so we'll see if this move makes it to the game. The next move is honestly my favorite. Gogeta coats himself in this aura and delivers this devastating punch to Broly. The first time he does it, that's where the move ends, but the second time he does it, he focuses the aura on his fist. And when he punches Broly, he transfers the aura to his body, causing this awesome explosion afterwards. And I think this is probably the coolest and most original super that I've ever seen Gogeta do. I'll be very sad if we don't see this in the game. It could just end up being a dramatic finish, but with a lack of dramatic finishes during Season 2, I'm not getting my hopes up. Next, we have one of Gogeta's signature moves. The official name seems to be the Soul Punisher, which is what they call it in Xenoverse. Gogeta summons this rainbow-colored ki blast that explodes into a massive force of fire and stars. Yeah, this move sparkles. He does this in Fusion Reborn and also during the Broly movie, so this could easily be his level 3 super simply because it's such a signature move. Though with Broly, it's kind of used mid-fights, so it could also end up being a level 1. What will definitely be a level 3 if it makes it to the game, of course, is the Super Kamehameha, which is probably my biggest pet peeve with this movie because they had the perfect chance to make the Big Bang Kamehameha from Dragon Ball GT into a canon move. Vegito has the final Kamehameha. Why shouldn't Gogeta have the Big Bang Kamehameha? The animation even resembles the Big Bang a little bit. But that's not what Gogeta yells out during the movie, so I guess it's just a Super Kamehameha. Personally, I hope it's listed as the Big Bang Kamehameha, even if the animation looks like the Broly movie, but either way, this is the final move he pulls off, so it's bound to be his ultimate attack. So to summarize, we've talked about 2 potential intros and his victory pose. His normals will be a lot of spinning kicks, knees, elbows, but also weird moves like fighting upside down. And there's a decent chance he'll be able to run with his ki blasts. For specials, he's got the Punisher drive, a dive kick, and lots of ways to parry ki blasts and normal attacks, as well as that beam attack potentially, but let's leave a question mark on that one. Finally, we have 4 supers in total. I don't think all of them will make it, but which ones will? That's the real question. And before ending this video, we've got some honorable mentions. Some moves that I think definitely will not make it, but they're fun to think about. When Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta comes into the scene in Dragon Ball GT, he punches Shenron so fast you can't even see it. It's almost like he blasts him with just his eyes. And while that looked cool in the show, I have trouble visualizing how to turn that into a move in FighterZ. With Shenron, he also creates these after images, but then he just shoots confetti at the guy, so it doesn't really do anything useful with this ability. And still on Shenron, he deflects his ultimate attack into space with his knee, and while doing so, he takes the negative energy in Shenron's move and turns it into positive energy. This is in line with a lot of the parry stuff we talked about, but there's kind of no point in using this when Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta has a ton of parries during the Broly movie. And that's the moveset. We've talked about a lot of different abilities, but I'm actually curious, out of all of these abilities, which ones do you think really define Gogeta? Like, which moves does the character actually really need to have? Otherwise, it's a complete letdown. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Boy.